Ivanka couldn't make it, Don Jr. told Jost, but Tiffany, played by Chloe Fineman, their other sister, was in attendance. Eric immediately seemed puzzled. "Don, who is that lady?" he asked his brother. "That's your sister, Eric," Don Jr. replied, before Eric accidentally called her Notvanka. "Don't call her that," Don Jr. snapped, but Tiffany, unfazed, shrugged and said, "It's okay, Dad does it." The humor in the moment wasn't entirely without basis. Tiffany Trump, Donald's 27-year-old daughter from his second marriage to Marla Maples, has never quite captured his attention the way Ivanka has. Recently, Tiffany has joined her siblings on the campaign trail for her father's re-election, even hosting a widely mocked LGBTQ event in Tampa, Florida. No matter how enthusiastic and energetic she is, the public still tends to view her as the forgotten Trump child. Her family doesn't exactly help her cause. Earlier this month, Donald forgot to wish her a happy birthday, but did remember to send birthday wishes to the US Navy. Ivanka also made a mistake by tagging the wrong Tiffany in a birthday tweet. This has been an ongoing narrative. In 2018, at an event in Ohio, Donald Trump was lecturing a crowd of workers about how great he was when he paused to mention some special guests. "Speaking of a job well done," he said, "we have two of my daughters here today." The crowd likely wondered who he was referring to. They, like the rest of the world, knew Ivanka. His daughter, who served as his advisor, acted as the de facto First Lady and was famously said to be someone he'd date if she weren't his daughter. They began to applaud at the mention of her name. Then, suddenly, Trump remembered something. "And Tiffany," he added, almost as an afterthought. The story of the two Trump sisters, Ivanka, 37, and Tiffany, 25, is an interesting one. Ivanka was raised in New York with her father's wealth and influence, while Tiffany grew up in California, mostly away from him. One had a jewelry line, the other was named after a jewelry brand. Ivanka markets herself as a self-made businesswoman and diplomat, while Tiffany has embraced the role of the classic billionaire's daughter. One is close friends with Chelsea Clinton, the other with Lindsay Lohan. Ivanka was front and center during their father's first presidential campaign, while Tiffany seemed almost invisible, relegated to the periphery. As Trump and his family hope for another 4 years in the White House, let's take a closer look at the two very different sisters, Ivanka and Tiffany. Asking whether Donald has a favorite daughter is like asking whether Fox News has a favorite political party. Just listen to him. "Let me tell you one thing," Donald once said in an interview. "Ivanka is a great, great beauty. Every guy in the country wants to go out with my daughter." After a pause, he added, "You know I have another daughter with Marla named Tiffany. She's also a beautiful, great kid. But it's very separate. When you have separate wives, it's sort of separate." Years later, on Election Day in 2016, he mentioned being proud of Tiffany, but to a lesser extent than his other children. How charming. If there's a reason Donald Trump doesn't seem as close with Tiffany as he is with Ivanka, it might stem from the fact that for much of Tiffany's childhood, they were about 3,000 miles apart. Donald and Tiffany's mother, actress Marla Maples, separated when Tiffany was 4, and they divorced by the time she was 6. After that, Tiffany moved from New York to California to live with Maples, visiting her father and siblings mostly during spring breaks at Mar-a-Lago, the hotel he owns in Florida. On the other hand, Ivanka was only 10 when Donald and her mother, Ivana Trump, divorced. However, Ivanka stayed in New York with her father and brothers, Don Jr. and Eric, living just an elevator ride away in Trump Tower. At one point, it seemed like Tiffany might follow her mother into show business. In her final year of school in 2011, she released a pop song called "Like a Bird," though the lyrics, "Diamonds are so shiny, special things I got on me," didn't quite earn her a spot in music history. Ultimately, Tiffany shifted focus, enrolling at the University of Pennsylvania closer to her father and half-siblings. There, she earned a double major in sociology and urban studies. She later interned at Vogue and an eyewear company before heading to Georgetown Law School in Washington, D.C. Ivanka, meanwhile, had a more glamorous upbringing. One standout memory was when her father arranged for Michael Jackson to watch her perform in the Nutcracker. Ivanka started at an exclusive girls' school in Manhattan before transferring to a prestigious boarding school in Connecticut, which she described as a prison. She then attended Georgetown University before finishing her studies at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, where her father and brother Don Jr. also attended. Ivanka went on to model, and her business career, however much it was influenced by her father, blossomed. Ivanka has been married to Jared Kushner, the seemingly quiet businessman who now works as a senior advisor to Donald, for 11 years. Before him, she was romantically linked to several public figures, including Lance Armstrong and Topher Grace, and even dated a man named Bingo Goobleman. Tiffany, on the other hand, has had her share of relationships too. Last year, she was spotted in London with her boyfriend Michael Boulos, a finance student with Lebanese and French roots, who was born in Texas but raised in Nigeria. Something her father may or may not have had in mind when he reportedly made controversial comments about parts of Africa. Prior to Boulos, Tiffany dated Ross Mechanic, though they broke up 2 years ago. Tiffany's Instagram used to feature photos from her partying with the Snap Pack, a group of wealthy young heirs and models, including Kyra Kennedy, daughter of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Barron Hilton, brother of Paris Hilton. She is also friends with Lindsay Lohan, whom Tiffany's father once commented on with a now infamous remark, and with actress Abigail Breslin. Ivanka has had her own group of famous friends, including Chelsea Clinton, whom she reportedly met through her husband. Ivanka and Jared are also close with Hugh Jackman and attended his 50th birthday party, and Ivanka is said to be friendly with Wendy Deng, former wife of Rupert Murdoch. In her book The Trump Card, Playing to Win in Work and Life, Ivanka writes one small anecdote about Tiffany, how Tiffany asked Ivanka for advice on how to ask their father for a credit card. All she wanted, really, was a way to enjoy some of the privileges her friends got to enjoy, Ivanka recalled. In the end, Ivanka suggested their father surprise Tiffany with a credit card for Christmas. With a small monthly allowance, sure enough, Donald followed through. The lesson of this story is unclear, but it does illustrate the bond the sisters share. Tiffany posts photos of herself with Ivanka's children, and Ivanka often refers to Tiffany as "my little sister" and says she's always been close to her and loves her dearly. It's safe to say that there's no reason to doubt their relationship, at least not now.